Samupe, Sampadia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Samupe, Jumpadia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and you punctua, Asam punctua. Era one,
Everyone on the ark now!
They are four women. They are beautiful with brains. They are eloquent, decent, wise, and experienced. You have heard many, the funny. Now, it's time to hear the experience and the brainy. Meet Selena, Dorcas, Gifty, and Annette as they present the real in common getting. In common BISS chain, the dead, as in Takrenu assume the dead, the real in common getting. Showing live this and every Sunday, 7 p.m. on Era One Radio on Facebook and on YouTube, Era One Radio and our Taibo channel. Kaise, so we see the real in common getting ya. What brabon tete, we nyan konkonsa, we the real in common getting.
Hello, good evening, Era One Radio listeners and viewers all over the world. It's another Tuesday, the 28th day of January 2025. We are a few days into the next month. Who would have believed that January is already ended? Well, tonight I came to announce to you that coming next Tuesday and thereabouts, I'm going to have a few more panel joining our group on Tuesday. And of course, the Thursday show is also still pending. Tonight, I'm going to do a quick solo since my people are not here. Pastor Kron traveled and he's just come back. And so we'll be seeing him this coming Thursday. Tonight, I want to encourage us, exhort ourselves, looking at what is going on. I just want to speak on this title, How to Respond to Change. How to Respond to Change. And if you want to call in, it's 240-280-2633. Or if you want to text, it's 5109-310-946. I'm broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, Modern Ghana Radio, and as I told you the last time, we've added one more platform, TikTok. Now you can hear us or see us live on TikTok. All right, so tonight is going to be a quickie, very short one, a discussion on change. Change is something that we all have to deal with. And when it comes, how do we respond to change? Of course, you've heard it several times, or a million times, I should say, that change is inevitable. And when change comes, how do we react to it? It is sometimes going to come as a constant. We always have to prep ourselves for it. And of course, you know, this new year or every year comes with new issues. Some years are for blessings, others are otherwise. It depends on how you look at it. For somebody can say 2024 was a bad year for me. Somebody can also say 2024 was my best year ever. That is when I got lots of money. Things happened. I got married. I got a new job. I got new promotion. A lot of things happened, and they are all subjective. what worked for someone may not work for somebody else. So tonight, with the new year, I want us to look at what change does to us and how we can act or react to the changes that come our way. Tonight, I want to draw a focus on Cat Williams. He did a very extensive, write up on change. And as I was thinking about a program, I knew what I was going to speak about, but her message also kind of encouraged me to, pull a few information from there, from medium.com at Cat Collins. Sorry, Cat Collins. All right. So we're looking at change. And Kat makes this profound statement. She says, we all know what is going on in the world. In some cases, even in our hometowns, everything feels so uncertain, unmoored. Things are changing rapidly, and it's all we can do to keep up. And of course, may I add that there's so much tension in the United States. For those of you who live here, you know what is going on. There's been a lot of tension since January 20th. Some people are scared. Some live in fear. Others might live in ecstatic mode because what they experienced is what they expected. So it depends on how you look at it. Some are in fear. Some are very ecstatic. They are very jolly about it. They like what is going on. Some will say, I like what me see. So we're going to look at when change happens to you, whether favorable or unfavorable, how do you react to it? So what used to be a safe situation is now could be said to be a stressor to many people. If you've been raided as an undocumented immigrant, it's not a pleasurable thing to you at all. So what it used to be that, if you are not committed, you haven't committed any crime as an immigrant, your probability of being sent home as an undocumented person was very low. I know in countries like UK and other places, when they get you on the street and you are undocumented, they just put you on flight and you are gone. But for the United States, that has not been the norm, although it happens here and there, but it's also something that we hear every day. But come this month, it's been rampant. We hear people have been, pulled from wherever they are with an undocumented status. They've been moved to wherever they came from, especially Guatemala and places like that. So with the current leadership, people are scared. Some have been deported already. And so with all this seeping change that's going on in our country or your home or your life, how do you respond to such a change? Of course, we've mentioned that change is inevitable. It will come. Again, it's the only constant that humanity knows. Being inevitable in life, it happens whether we are ready for it or not. We can't avoid it. We can't stop. There are some things that you cannot stop it. Others, you can. You can do something about it. Because they said that you can't prevent the birds from flying over your head. But you can actually prevent them from sitting on the top of your scalp to do whatever they want to do. So some things are preventable. Others, they come and we roll with it. When they come, what do? You just have to change your lifestyle or your attitude or something to be able to mitigate the issue. It doesn't mean that things will not come. They will befall us. But we have to show certain attitude to meet it so our equilibrium is still maintained. There's an equilibrium that we have to maintain every day. When it shifts, you have to do other things to balance it to make sure you are still living in equilibrium. That is why we have what we call homeostasis. That is the job of the body. If your temperature increases in your body, you get a high fever, the body reacts in certain way to cool you down, to maintain equilibrium. It's called homeostasis. It is going to happen anyway, whether we want it or not. This might sound fatalistic, but it is what it is. And Kant makes this pronounced statement, which we are all very aware of. Change is inevitable. Growth is optional. As much as we can't change what changes, you have to decide whether you want to grow out of it or you want to stay. That is why it is optional. Optional means you either can do it or you decide not to do anything, and that's fine. I mean, if you are crossing the road, a highway or freeway, you can stand in the middle of the road and say, okay, you know what? I'm not going to move anymore. I'm just going to stand there. You might be hit by a vehicle. You decide what you want to do. That might not be a very perfect example, but there are some things that when they happen to you, you have to make a decision. You can be optional about it. And so, you know what? I don't care. Let it play its own course. Or you want to do something about it. And if you have high fever, there are some things you can do to lower your temperature. You can decide, no, I don't care. Let it take its course. And it might shut you down or something. Something could happen. So change is inevitable. Your body will go through changes. But then you have to decide, are you going to do something about it, or are you going to let it stay the way it is, or let it play its course until when it wants to leave? And of course, if you're experiencing some sickness in your body, there are options. You can either, you know what, this sickness, you don't belong to my body. I'm going to do something to kick it. If it's a high temperature, I will do something about it. I'll take some medication, get a thermometer, check your temperature, see how far it's gone, do something about it. Either you rush yourself to the hospital or take some measures that will cool down this temperature and return your body to normalcy. And this was quoted by John Maxwell, the author of the 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader. Change is inevitable, but growth is optional. You have to decide. Again, you can decide you want to stay there or you want to do something about it. Everyone handles change differently. That is true. What is good for you might be bad for somebody, or what you think is, oh, this one, it doesn't matter if it's some small thing. To somebody, it's a big deal. So it's all subjective. What is beautiful for you might be ugly for somebody else. That's why they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If I see a lady and say, oh, this lady is beautiful, another guy might see the same lady and say, oh, no, forget about it. It depends on what we're looking at. Somebody can see the lady, look at the face and say, oh, she has a pretty face, so the whole package is beautiful. Somebody will not even look there. So it is subjective. And so we handle situations differently. I may have the stamina to cope with this, somebody may not, and vice versa. So it depends on how you handle the situation. Change will come, but how do you act or react? Some find it easy to go with the flow, while others struggle with change immensely. Some will say, oh, it doesn't matter. I mean, if it's happening to somebody and it's happening to me, it's okay, let's just let it roll. But somebody say, you know what? The fact that it happened to somebody doesn't mean it should happen to me, so I am going to stop it. It's just like hereditary, genetic flow in your family. Maybe your family has a history of diabetes. Are you going to say, oh, there's diabetes in the family, so why should I even bother doing anything? I'm just going to go with it. You won't check your diet, you won't exercise, you won't do anything just because it's in your family. It's in my family, so why do I have to worry? But you can stop it. You can stop it. The genes might be in your family, but the environmental, you can change. You can decide, okay, you know what? The things that my family ate that got them diabetic, I'm not going to eat it. Or even if the genes is there, I'm going to suppress the genes. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go to the gym and work out 3-4 times a day. I'm going to watch the way I eat. I'm not going to eat after certain times, hours in the day. You are combating it. So even though it has a flow, the tendency to continue in your family, you are bringing it to an end. That is why in the spiritual balance, we say, well, we terminate this generational curse. If the curse is there, cut it short, stop it. You can do something about it. Don't just say, oh, sanity, it's been in my family, so I'm going to let you can do something, you can stop it. This year, we all have to make that endeavor that if something has been existing, that needs to be terminated. Don't just say, oh, that is how it is, so keep, let it flow. No, we have to do something to cut it short and to stop it. Let it stop with you. And some of the leaders have this time, they said, the buck stops with me. The buck stops with me, which means as a leader, if something is going on, you are the one to stop it. It has to stop with you. That is when the leadership comes in. Dealing with change isn't about changing service, about your reaction to it. How do you react to something that is messing up your body, or in your life that is not pleasurable or interesting? You want to stop it. It has to be intentional. You decide that, you know what, this thing is going to bother me. Let me stop it right now before it becomes a canker. Don't let it keep festering and moving on to get to a point where it is too late. As soon as you can, let it stop. You can choose to stay stuck and frailing with a change, or use it as a stepping stone towards growth. You can use it as a stepping stone to exercise growth. Act instead of react. Many times we react instead of acting. And when you look at the laws of physics, to every force there's equal and opposite reaction, or something in that vein. Change is inevitable, of course, yes, but change can be a good thing. It is not every change that is bad. Sometimes we are scared of change. Oh, this thing is going to mess me up. But quite often, it's a good thing. Good evening, Dr. Charles Boyce, watching from Thunder Bay. All right, thank you, Sister Kuya. Sylvia is watching us all the way from Thunder Bay, so thank you very much for giving us some shout outs. Yeah, thank you very much. And Happy New Year again, of course. I've said New Year to you again. So thank you for watching. Yeah, when something happens to us, it could be a good thing or it could be bad. Hardly does it become neutral where it exists in the gray area where it matters. There are few things that doesn't bother us if we leave it that way. But even something that we say doesn't bother us could be a canker, and we have to watch it. I promise that if you let something fester for a long time, it becomes tolerable. You don't worry again, you suppress it and becomes a canker in your life. You have to stop it as soon as it begins. Do not let it go far if it's possible. If it is possible. And honestly, this year, that is what all of us should endeavor to do. If there's something going on that has been a bother, you don't want to roll with it till 31st December. Stop it right now if you can. It is possible. Instead, we choose to act instead of reacting. We choose to act instead of reacting. You have to act on the situation and stop it. Don't just react, jump up and go crazy. We have to act. Do something about it. This thing is not pleasurable. It is hurting somebody. It's hurting me. Let me stop it. If it is the way we do things, the way we speak, the way we do whatever is not working and hurting people, we have to make a conscious effort. Go inside yourself and say, this year, I am going to change. It's happened to me. I couldn't prevent it from happening, but once it's happening, I am going to behave in this way. I'm going to put up this attitude to counteract it so it doesn't fester. To act is to choose your behavior based on your own needs and desires. To react is to allow outside influences to choose your behavior for you. That is the definition. To act is to choose your behavior based on your own needs and desires. To react is to allow outside influences to choose your behavior for you. I'm going to let this marinate a little bit, and then I'll come back, and then we'll pick it up from there, because sometimes we need to let things sit. We have to do something about it.
Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Jumpa dietia. Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Oh, and you pantua. Chintu, asam pantua. Chintu, egratum kuma. Era one, lebo yumpankua.
All right, so we are still on Divine Connection. This is the Divine Connection show. This is where divinity meets humanity. On behalf of my studio manager, Dr. Osetutu, also known as Ostus, I bring you greetings from the studio. So this evening I've been talking about how we need to react to change, which is inevitable. It will come as it is, sometimes planned, sometimes unplanned, but there are some things that we invite them ourselves because our actions prompt them to come. Others, we have no idea, they just creep on us. And when they do, how do we act or react? That's what we're talking about. And I just defined act and react from Kat's point of view. To act is to choose your behavior based on your own needs and desires. To react is to allow outside influence to choose your behavior for you. For instance, if you want to act on something, okay, this thing happened to you, or somebody insulted you or did something. Now you count 1 man thousand, 2 man thousand, whatever you get to. Let your heart calm down. And then you decide on what to do. Are you going to pay them back in their own coin? Or are you going to step back and say, you know what, this thing you did was bad, so and so? Or just when you're going to react by either giving back the same insult or blow for a blow? You have to choose. Are you going to act or you are going to react? It could be a bad situation that is happening to you. Are you going to allow it to continue to, seep through your body, and anytime you remember it hurts you? Or you are going to decide and say, you know what, let it be a bygone. It hurts. When I remember it, it hurts. But then I'm going to choose to let it stay behind me, and I'm going to have a better attitude going forward. Otherwise, it's going to be chaos. The truth is, we often react without thinking. When we react, we hardly think. That is when the adrenaline, the hormone, kicks in. This hormone kicks in. It tells you, it's called the flight or the fight hormone. Sometimes you don't even know what you're going to do. The adrenaline kicks in, and it dazes all your mind, and you just instantly go and do something crazy when all the adrenaline is weighing off and your body is back to normal levels. It's like, what did I do? That is when you regret, and then you have to apologize. It's a gut reaction. We just do it instantly. We don't even think about it. And I've given this example before. If you are being chased by a rabbit or crazy, big, old, barking dog, it might be running after you. You see this wall about 6 feet, and meanwhile you are like 5'1" or 5'2". In normal situation, there's no way you can jump that wall. But because of the gift of adrenaline that God has given us, you marshal some energy and you leap above this wall. You get over and you ask yourself, did I just do that? How did I jump over this fence? Because something was chasing you. And it was either you jump or this animal takes a fist at you. So it just happens. So when something happens to us, we just react. We don't even think about it. We jump into that conclusion, we do it, and after that, a whole lot of regret. It's often based on fear and insecurities, and it is not the most rational or appropriate way to act. Responding, on the other hand, is taking the situation and deciding the best course of action based on values such as reason, compassion, cooperation, and etc. So when that thing happens to you, you ask yourself, all right, am I going to act with reason? Let me ask myself, why did so and so do what the person, he or she did? Maybe he did it because it's climbed and reached a zenith point in his or her life. You begin to reason, why did the person do that? Most of you realize that they did it because, well, it's premeditated. They've been thinking about it for so many days, so many years. That's fine. It's acceptable. How about compassion? Are you going to say, okay, they did it because it was just beyond them? Are you going to have compassion? Or are you going to cooperate with them? It depends. In all these situations, it depends on how you are going to, react or act, because some too have no excuse. I mean, some of them you just, weigh the whole thing and say, why did you do this? Some you can't even sympathize with them, but you still have to use reason, compassion, cooperation, and decide what you're going to do, how you're going to act, because eventually, whatever decision you take might come to bite you. I mean, you might honor what your body is telling you, but when all is said and done, do you regret? Did you act or react in the best way manner? Would you have advised somebody to do the same thing? Or what are you going to do? It's very important. So when change comes out, we have to decide, how am I going to react? How am I going to act? What am I going to do? Am I going to react or I'm going to act? And as I define, action and reaction might be equal in opposite direction, but you choose which one to want to do or use as a solution. And how do we learn to respond to change? Well, the main thing to learn is mindfulness and the pause. Mindfulness and the pause. And from here, Kat defines mindfulness as what? Watching ourselves when something happens that might normally upset us or trigger some sort of emotional reaction. And so you need to pay close attention to how your mind reacts. It's all about the mindset. What does your mind tell you? This person did this to you. And what are you going to do? Example comes to mind about these athletes. I think it happened in Charlottesville. These guys had gone for a game. And I think when they came back, they got back on campus. This guy pulled a gun and shot 3 of them. And I think one of them was some of them were from Petersburg, Virginia here. And he killed the 3 of them. Now, when they went into the source of this issue, the shooting, somebody said, 1 or 2 of them was teasing this the shooter or the culprit. And so it got to a level where he couldn't take it anymore. So the only way to end what was being done to him was to shoot them. So he put his gun. As to why he even had a gun on him for a game and all that is another questionable thing. So he pulled the gun and he shot these 3 people. Of course, taking 3 lives, you can't replace them. So you ask yourself, after shooting these 3 guys who died, how do you feel? Do you regret? Do you think you could bring them back to life? It's irreversible. Unless Jesus walks by and resurrects them, they are not coming back. They've been buried. They're gone. And so by doing that, what have you done? Everything began in the mind. When I don't know whether they were teasing as itself or something happened. I don't know the actual cause. Whatever, when something happens, rumors arrive. So some were saying this. The actual cause might be different. So with this guy experiencing this on the bus, what did this decide to do? Let me end these guys who are doing this. Let me stop it. And the only way I can stop is to eliminate them. Not, oh, go to them, say, yo, you guys are doing this. I don't like it. Stop it. He didn't even give them one or two warnings, or it could be something that is happening in the school and he said it and nobody minded, or we have no idea. All we know is that there was a bus there that had come from a trip. The students were in. Somebody got angry, pulled a gun and shot 3 people. And that was, I'm sure the guy is, I don't know whether he's been, his life, or I don't know what the disposition of the case. But in this case, you ask yourself, what was going through the mind of this guy? Everything was in the mind. He could have decided, you know what, I'm not going to mind these people. I'll let it go off. What wasn't done to Jesus? Everything worse in this world happened to Jesus. But what did he say? On the cross, the people that he had created, he said, Father, forgive them, but because they are so ignorant. He said, yo, Daddy, forgive them. They are so ignorant. If they knew what they were doing, they wouldn't do this. And he forgave. So sometimes forgiveness, as hard as it is, we have to try and let it pass. And Jesus made a statement. He said, when somebody slaps you on the one cheek, offer the second cheek. That might mean something different. It doesn't mean they slap you one, go back and say, yo, I'm bringing the second one, slap me. No. I once heard a message from Dr. Mensa Otabe. He said, when they slap you, it's not a matter of offering the second one. Just move away, stay away. Don't get close to the person anymore. Just walk away. That is my second offering. I am not giving my second offering. I'm not going to retaliate. I'm not going to beat you or kill you, but I'm not offering the second one. I am walking away. Unless it's instantaneous, that you slap, and as soon as I was just checking what happened, you give me the second one. That one is acceptable. You got 2 of my cheeks. But when you slap me first one, I won't. I don't think Jesus meant I'll go straight away and give the other person. Me, I wouldn't do that. And so when stuff happens, the second thing is to pause. If you react instantly, that is when you're going to regret, or something crazy is going to happen. Somebody says something bad. You don't think about it. You don't want to take a moment of action, but you want to react. As soon as they say something bad, bang, you slap the person or you do something crazy. If you have a gun, that's when it goes. But if you pause, you know what? This guy insulted me. This guy hit me or stamped on my feet or whatever. What was in the mind? Was it intentional? Did he plan to do it? Just pause and ask yourself a few questions. Pausing in life could save so many lives. If we take a time to pause over something, so you know what, this thing is so painful, but let me take a minute and let it marinate. Just let it marinate and figure out what it's going to do. As painful as it is, just take a minute, pause, and decide what you're going to do before you react. If we all can do this, it will save us a lot of energy and a lot of lives that will be saved. Because most of the people who have died in this world are all been because of reaction. For instance, I just heard that one of the J6 General 6 guys who invaded the capital was pardoned by the new president. I mean, the Trump number 2. Trump pardoned all of them. So this guy was one of the pardonees. Let me use that word. And just this week, we heard this guy has been shot dead. Why? Because he was stopped at the traffic light. And I'm sure this policeman didn't know that Trump had pardoned this guy. Of course, the guy had violated traffic rules or policies. He didn't know something ensured, and the guy has been shot. So what actually ensued? The right actual reasons are there. Maybe he asked for his driver's license. He get down, and this guy felt, oh, yo, Trump has pardoned me. Who are you to question me? I don't know what, I'm just making it up. But something happened. You know, normally anytime something ensues between a driver and a policeman, something happens, and once ego is being messed up, one of either the driver or the policeman, one of them has his ego messed up. I'm the policeman. I've been given authority from the government to stop you and demand whatever I want to demand from you. And the passenger says, you know what? Well, I just got pardoned by the president, so you don't have any authority to ask me anything. Right now, I'm above the law. I'm just making things up. But something happened and somebody reacted. Maybe policeman asked, where's your documents? Don't bother me. Why are you asking me document? Or he gave it and something happened. We don't know exactly what happened, but the action and the reaction could have happened. Somebody compromised or somebody did something crazy. The other person didn't like it. Somebody's ego was messed up, compromised. You know what? I will show you I am my father's son. You're not going to mess up with me like that. Pam! Somebody gets shot within a few minutes. Something that could have been resolved. And so our policemen, I'm just saying it. If you stop somebody, let's have some patience. You don't know what the person is going throughout the day. Maybe he's been messed up by his wife or husband. They are going through stuff, children, whatever. So their mind is so crazy. And so when you stop him or her, you have actually added salt to injury. So we have to be patient. Be patient. That is why there are some professions that if you don't have patience, you don't go into them. Being a cops, being a nurse, doctor, there are some professions you have to exercise a lot of patience. A lot of patience. I remember as a medical technologist, when I deploy and I have to go draw blood of little boys and girls in the laboratory. These boys are crying and wailing and kicking and everything. You have to be patient. I just want a little bit of blood from your veins. They will cry and do it. So you have to have patience just to take a pause and listen to what is going on. And so we have to pause and not just react. Otherwise, we are always on the whim. It's very difficult. Sometimes you can't control it. But this year, we are all I'm speaking to myself. I'm preaching to myself. But I thought I have to make it loud and come and exhort all of us because we all go through it. This we have to, whatever is going to get you angry, let's pause and say, you know what, we can do better. We don't have to act immediately. Just because we have an internal reaction, we can pause, not act and breathe. Like I said, sometimes they say when you're angry, count 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. By the time you get to 10,000, your breath, the adrenaline, everything is kind of calm down for you to have your senses back and now decide, you know what, okay, he did this, she did this. What am I going to do? Am I going to react? We can acknowledge our reaction to act out of fear and our own insecurities. Then let it go away. Let it pass through your mind. Sometimes that takes a few seconds. Other times it means we go out to a quiet room or place and take some time to ourselves. And as parents, sometimes we do it. Your children mess you up, they piss you off, and so go to your room. Go to your room and let me calm down. When I calm down, I decide your punishment. As a spouse, when things go to the north or to the south, just take a walk, move to the other place, calm down. Sometimes it's very painful. You want to tell them your peace of mind. I mean, it's happened. You really, really want to tell him or her your peace of mind. Yes, you can't do that. Yes, I am the man. I am the one who wear the original pants. You guys are wearing the fake pants. You women think you are wearing pants, but that pants is not pants. We are the men. We wear the red pants. And you say all kinds of, you want to do stuff and later you regret. By the time you know, you are crawling back and apologizing. We have to take some pause. If it means leave in the house, leave. Honestly, some things might be very, 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 very painful. Very, very painful, but then you have to take into consideration it is change that is coming through your life, and you have to act and not just react. When the initial reaction goes away, you can now consider what the most intelligent, compassionate response might be. We can make informed choices. We can be proactive. We shouldn't want to be stagnant or set in our ways. You can say, you know what? If it is not for God, I will do this. Of course, if it wasn't for God, you would do something crazy. But let it be for God or for so and so, and so you are going to pause. There are some things that honestly, when somebody says to you, it's hurt, it pains to the bone marrow, it goes into your inside part that you wish, challenge can me peace of mind, power. But for the sake of peace, we have to endeavor to let it roll. Change means learning, growing, and perhaps achieving something we never thought possible. I mean, as I said earlier on, change is inevitable. It will come our way. But how do we act or react when it comes? You might be surprised at what happens when you accept change. If you consciously accept the change that something wonderful can happen, then it will. Change is not always to come and destroy our lives. Change comes to just test our strength and our ability, because if you are there and nothing happens, you are not even growing. Sometimes stuff happens, you look for solutions, and then you grow from there. Change can be the catalyst for something bigger. It is the one thing that is going to cause a change. And of course, when we define catalyst, it's something that takes place in a chemical reaction, but at the end of the reaction, it remains unchanged. It just comes to push you to do what you're supposed to do, but itself, it will walk away. Change can make you grow, and it can also transform you. That is the only way we grow. As somebody say, you know what, a marriage that doesn't have fight, it's not a good marriage. Well, as for me, I wouldn't want a fight. But if some little comes for you to take a second look at them and say, this thing is what came to change our lives. Yes, let it be. You don't expect it to come, but when it comes, how do you grow towards or outside it? You have to use the situation that is bringing the change to move you to another level. When we experience change, it makes us grow. It shouldn't take us backwards. It should make us grow and say, you know what, this happened. And now this is the solution I am looking for to fix this problem. So if it comes again in our lifetime, we can fix it. That is the principle behind the COVID-19 vaccine. They introduce something in our body mimicking the actual virus. And so when the virus sees it, it thinks like, oh, I've met you. Your white cells or your defense mechanism says, oh, I have seen this thing before. And so it goes to fight it. And that's how, you are safe. That's the whole principle of vaccination. They introduce something, a dead organism, which is almost like the one that will fight you later. They invented all this mRNA vaccine and they push it into our system. And so our body develops that, the leukocytes and the white cells to fight it. You shiver maybe a day or two. That's what happens when you are vaccinated. That's the symptoms that you experience. I got it, and it happened to me twice. I think 3 times when I went for all the vaccine, COVID vaccine 1, 2, and 3. Your body, you go to high temperature. Your body shivers because they've introduced something that is not inside your body. So your body, you being a living entity, you are responding to this new thing. Say, this is foreign to me. Let me go and fight it. So your body marshals an army of white cells, leukocytes, all that stuff, and they go and fight this body. And so later on, when the actual virus, COVID, the virus comes into your body, the soldiers say, we've seen this before. You've come to our body before. They all rush and they fight. That is how you survive. And when your immune system is very low and almost aging, that is when this virus overcomes you and some die. That's what it is. We have to put up a defense system. We have to fight it. That's what we need to do. Change forces choices. When a change happens in your life, it gives you the ability to decide what you want to do. Do you react? Do you act? What solution do you provide to this change? What are you going to do? If you have a child, you are not used to waking up 2 a.m. to breastfeed a child, or as the dads who don't have the breast, if your wife gives you the bottle and you're supposed to feed the child, what are you supposed to do? 2 a.m. you are awake. You are used to sleeping from 11 p.m. to maybe 6 a.m. And here you have to wake up every 2 hours to feed your baby. What are you going to do? Are you going to say because the child came to alter your sleeping pattern, you're going to be crazy? No, it's something that is coming. You just have to embrace yourself that these two shall come to pass. It is a season, and when they are 18 and they leave the house, you have your life back. So any change happens, we have to look for solution to combat it. We will find a positive in it. If we embrace change, there will always be positive in it. But remember, it's all in where we choose to put our focus. You might think that, this change is come to mess up my life. Or you can say, hey, this is a challenge. Let me look for a solution. And Thomas Edison, in trying to bring us the fluorescent bulb, how many times did he do it? We hear he did it 1,000 times. And he succeeded only once. So the 999 times, what did he do? It's a challenge. He's just telling me that I shouldn't do it this way. I shouldn't do it this way 999 times. And the last one that he did, he succeeded. Here we have all these fluorescent lights around. So when change comes, you have to look at it in the positive way and look for a solution that will bring a positive change. Even change that hits us in the side of the head as a major crisis can be full of growth opportunities if we choose to look for them. If anything happens, you ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? How can it might be a teaching moment for you, something that if you are able to succeed and overcome, somebody might also go through the same situation. And you being a pro and experienced at that level can say, you know what? This is nothing I went through, and this is the solution that I used, or solution that I used to counteract the problem. So you can be a consultant and advisor. So change is not a bad thing. Sometimes we don't like it. It depends on how they come. They can actually come and mess us up. But in chemistry, there's something that we have the reactants, the constant of a reaction. If you have 30% of this and you need 70% of this, that's what's going to give you the product. So if the reactants change, the percentage change, you have to use the other percentage from the other side to make sure you are getting what your endpoint is going to be. If something changes, they call it the Le-Chatelier's principle. If something changes here, you have to alter this one here to be able to get the same endpoint. Otherwise, you're not going to get what you're looking for. Many people have weathered a serious crisis, look back years later and point to that event as a significant turning point. Most would rather not go through that pain again, but it was a key part of their growth. It is. Jacob had an encounter, an experience with an angel until he became a limping man. What could he have learned from it? Could he have said, "Oh, angel, you shouldn't have wrestled with me"? It happened, but I believe he learned something from it. Well, so what are some of the areas that we are likely to experience change, or what are the areas that will affect us? Let me run through quickly. Leadership is one thing. Leadership is one thing. Presidency is one thing. Monarchical system is one thing. Any form of leadership. That is why we say elections have consequences. When I believe the Republicans in this country are jubilating because their candidate has won the presidency, they have the White House, they have the Senate, and they have the House of Representatives. So all three belongs to them. Elections have consequences. What you vote for is what you get. Ghana had Baumia, they had Mahama, they have Sheda, and other candidates were vying for the position of presidency. They chose Mahama. So whatever you choose or you left for is what you get. Now we are experiencing what many voted for. So with a new change comes looking for a new solution. So in the United States, we are dealing with what we are dealing with. Some see it as the best thing that ever happened to them. Some are seeing it as negative. Some wish it hasn't been that way. But new king, new law. With elections come new consequences. So with this change that has come, we have to deal with it. Constitutionally, we have 4 years for President Trump to finish. Whatever he does or doesn't do, we have to dance to it for the next 4 years. It is a huge change. So you're either going to react or act. What are you going to do? As a citizen, what do you do? Those who are undocumented, they've seen themselves already being deported to countries. They have no choice. Some too voted on the premise that when President Trump comes, he's going to deport most people undocumented. They knew it. So it's like we didn't know. It's not like we didn't know. We knew it. This is the guy's mantra. He said, if I come, this is what I'm going to do. And people bought into it. So it is what it's going to be. So with this new change, we just have to live through it. And are we going to react or are we going to act? You might be angry, you might be happy, whichever aisle you belong to. You have to make up your mind that this is what it's going to be. And so I will prep my mind for this situation. Whether I'm going to be happy for the next 4 years or I'm going to be angry for the next 4 years, you have to look for some solution to deal with it. Otherwise, you are going to go crazy or you're going to be too excited. So with this new leadership, it's a new change for most of us, all of us. All of us are going through this change. So we have to just see what we can do for your sanity to be there. You are not going to go crazy because of what is going on. You just have to find a solution to mitigate whatever you think is not appealing to you. How about finances? I hear some people are going to lose their jobs. Right now, the government has frozen federal hiring. So we can't apply for any jobs now until it's lifted. There's something called DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. If you are hired because of DEI, they are saying your job is going to go away, they're going to fire you. There's a whole lot of change that is coming and people are going to react. It's going to be crazy. Our comfort zone have been disturbed. It's like you have some fish in the pond that the water has been disturbed. You have to look for something, somewhere to run to. There is chaos, a whole lot of stuff going on. This is a change that some knew was coming, some didn't know was going to come this way. There's whole lot, I hear loans have been frozen. Grants have been frozen. So these are all changes that nobody knew was coming, but it's here. And so we have to live through it. What do you do to maintain your sanity? Are you going to react or are you going to act in a way that will help you? And when it comes to finances, your income is either going to increase or it's going to decrease. I hear if you are making below a certain amount, you're going to be taxed more. If you make higher than a certain amount, you're going to be taxed less. So whichever it is, people are going to cry, some are going to rejoice. You have to know where you belong and how you are going to either react or act. We have to plan ahead before unexpected changes hit us. Well, some things that we didn't know were going to happen, but here they are. And how about your family? What changes come into your family? Some families might increase this year, others may decrease. You might have a newborn, you might have adoption, and some are going to leave family members, some will die, all kinds of stuff. And you have to plan financially. You don't have to sit down and wait for GoFundMe to hit you or to be blessed. They lost a family member. Let's do a GoFundMe, donation or something. You have to plan ahead. This year, anything can happen. Whatever money you get, put some aside. Plan for eventualities. Some people say, oh, Jesus said, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. But the same Jesus also said what? You have to plan. If you are going to build a house, sit down and calculate. Put down the structure on paper first. Find out, do you have enough money to build this structure? Don't say Nyame beye. It is good. Nyame will always do. But find out, plan the structure. Am I going to be able to build this thing? Did I schedule the house too big, too small? You have to plan. Yes, Jesus says in Matthew, do not worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow worry about itself. But we still have to plan. So when tomorrow comes, we'll still ask for the favor of God to live through. We have to plan. And don't wait till, you lose a family member. So let's go find me and let's look for money to bury the person. We have to plan ahead. This year, we have to refrain from, give me $1, give me $2, give me $1, give me $2. We have to be able to prep ourselves and plan ahead. It's very important. Change will come. It's inevitable. When it comes, what do we do? Do we act or do we react? Let's look at relationships. Trust me, this year you will lose some friends. It's going to be definite. And you will gain some too. Not everybody will travel with you on the same agenda, on the same plan. If you share your plans with some people, some will buy it, some will not buy it. You will step on some people's toe, they will leave you, they will not call you again. It's going to happen. You have to decide and say, you know what? Whether you call me or you don't call me, life will continue. You will lose some friends, you will gain some friends. We have to plan. It is change that is going to come. It's inevitable. Sometimes you don't plan for it, but when it comes, you have to decide, is it a gain or is it a pain to you? Is it a pain? Is it a gain? Is it a blessing? We have to plan ahead. Yes, do not worry about tomorrow. But when tomorrow comes and you haven't planned, worrying and planning are different things. Don't worry. Don't stress. Don't say, tomorrow, what am I going to eat? What are my children going to eat? Don't be stressing and fretting about it. Don't worry about it. But plan. They are two different things. So if you say, Jesus said, don't worry. I'll just sit down. Tomorrow will come. There will be bread on my table. That is fine. The story was told of a man who was keeping homeless children, I think a foster home. And this guy realized that very day or the following day, there was not going to be any bread for the children to eat that evening. And instead of stressing or worrying, the guy said, Lord, I'm not going to worry, but I'm going to plan. What do I do? He prayed and started looking for means to do something, whatever he had to do and all that. He didn't worry. He just planned. Say, what am I going to do? Started looking for means. Not knowing a truck full of bread was passing by. And I think the driver had a flat tire or something. For some reason, he had a flat tire. And the guy said, you know what? I can't go. I don't want the bread or the stuff to get, spoiled or whatever. So he realized that there was an orphanage right across the street. He went in and said, you know what? It looks as if something is telling me that you guys need bread. This thing is going to go to waste. And lo and behold, the following day, there was food for the children. So this guy didn't stress. He didn't worry. But he planned and God blessed him. Somebody's car just came to, flat tire on the road. And that's how they were fed. So we have to plan. We don't have to worry, but we have to plan and let God go with that. Because even Proverbs, written by Solomon, he said, many are the desires in the heart of a man, and for that matter, woman, but it is God who brings them to pass. So don't say, I'm not going to plan. This year, I'm not going to plan. Put something on paper. God, this is what I want to do. If you give me breath, if you give me life to continue living, this is what I want to do. The things that you think are not necessary, take it out, Lord, but I'm putting something there. I'm giving you something. I'm writing it plainly and clearly for you to see. This is my vision, Lord. If you give me the strength and if you agree with my plans, let it come to pass. The one that you think is not necessary for me, Lord, take them out. But you have to plan. You have to put down something. You have to give something to God to work with. Of course, He knows your end from the beginning. But you to be very like this guy and lazy on our part to say, for us, we'll live through one day at a time. Yeah, we just say that balance just to, when people are greeting us, how are you doing, one day at a time. Of course, live one day at a time, but plan that one day. And when it comes to employment, of course, this year, many are going to hit so many years and they're going to retire. I have a few years to retire. We will retire and we will stop working. But in between, when you started working and your retirement, in between, what are you going to do? There's going to be a change. As I said earlier on, some people are going to lose their jobs this year. When it happens, what are you going to do? Are you just going to put your hand on your head and cry? When it happens, maybe God is opening another door for you. Move on. What are you going to do when the job changes? It's unfortunate that they are mentioning DEI jobs are going to go away. It's unfortunate. And I ask myself, when these people lose their jobs, what are they going to do to feed their family? We have to think about it. We are cutting jobs. We are saving dollars. But also we have to compassionate. When these people lose their jobs, how are they going to feed their family? Do we think about them? The fact that some people are millionaires, billionaires, and they don't think about what they're going to have they also thought about when these people lose their jobs, what are they going to eat? What are they going to feed their family? Nobody thought they were going to lose their jobs now. So they might not have even planned ahead. They don't have too much money saved. And so we have to consider these things. We are saving a nation, but we have to do it stepwise. That people, in the process of saving money, we don't lose people. We might save money, and Bible says, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses your soul? We might save all this money, but at the end of it, when your people are dying, people are going through stress, going through psychological and all kind of problems, are we going to be happy? We have to do what is right and acceptable, but at the same time, we have to be compassionate and think through what we are doing. People might lose their jobs and be staying home, and burglary is going to increase because the person is not working. What is he going to do? Go to grocery and steal food? It's going to be crazy. We are going to solve one problem and another problem will come up. We have to be very careful about these changes, that as we solve some of these changes, we don't end up introducing bigger problems. People are going to be laid off, no jobs, no income, and they're going to be going through town and stealing and all that. Is that what we want? We have to be careful. No hiring is going on to further notice. That's what we hear. And I hear there are some people who have been accepted for jobs, but because of this mandatory freeze, they can't move. I even hear some have even sold their homes, getting ready to move on to their new jobs. What did they do? Did they go back and say, the house that I sold, I want it back? It's very going to be difficult. And so these are some of the things I listed, and there are many more. You know what kind of changes are going through your life. And I want to end on this note. Change begins with you. As I said earlier on, it's a mindset. Everything begins in the mind. You decide whether you are going to act or you are going to react. What are you going to do? On the spiritual aspect, this is where I love the Lord gives us solutions. And I'll end with an exhortation from Pastor Shane Slesman. When it comes to change, he calls that the declaration of change. When he mentioned declaration of change, he has three things in mind: a mind of change, a mind of exchange, and a mind of Christ. A mind of change, the mind needs to change. A mind of exchange, you don't just say a mind. I mean, you have to exchange with something. When the old goes, new have to come in. When you are giving up the bad, embrace the new. Because the Bible says when the devil comes in and the place is clean, but then nothing good has come to occupy, he will go and bring 7 more demons to occupy it. So when you let something go out, fill it with a good thing. It's like you have a container. If I have this water here and it's empty, do I want it empty or do I want to fill it with something? If what is inside is not good for me and I empty it, I would want what I desire to come and fill it so that what? The matter or energy is conserved. And so we have to make sure our mind that is towards change is positive. Change will come, but you have to have that mind. Okay, I'm subject to change. And so when my mind changes to certain direction, I have to move in that direction. It's all about mindset. Most of the things that come into our lives as forms of changes, if we will set our minds right, we can be able to change them. We will be able to change them. And we have to exchange them from something good. Worst thing came to us. How do we counteract it? And again, using the phrase act, react, and act. What do we counteract it? In the mind of Christ. When you take on the mind of Christ, it's a whole lot of new solution. The mind of Christ, one of the scriptures is Romans chapter 12, verse 1, 2, 3. This is what it says. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, Paul speaking, that you present your bodies as living sacrifice, not dead, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. That is what he's asking for. Give yourself as a living sacrifice. Not when we are dead. Who needs a dead body? 2, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. We have to transform our mind. All the junk that didn't help us in 2024, we are letting it go. It's a new year. We want to counter the year with new ideas. The things that went right, we are letting them go. We learn from history, but we move toward the future with optimism. Not say, oh, the past was bad. The past was bad. The present is going to be bad. The future is going to be bad. No, the past was bad. We learn from the past. What didn't work? What did not work? And we move on. We move on. We renew our mind. The mind has to be renewed. All the junk has to leave. All of us this year will have to try to renew our mind for good things. And then when it comes to a mind of exchange, let's look at Ephesians 4:17-18. This I say therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk, in the vanity of their mind, having their understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God through the ignorance that is in them, because of the blindness of their hearts. 23, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that ye put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness. I don't know about you, whether you believe in God or you believe in the Bible, but honestly, I have come to realize that just reading the Bible, has certain nuggets that can transform life. This book can transform so many lives. The things that the Bible talks about, some argue about the Old Testament and all. Even if you don't want to worry about Old Testament, it's too complex for you. Go to the New Testament, from Matthew's Gospel all the way to Revelation. Revelation might even be too complex for you because it talks about things that we haven't seen, the future. Just end up somewhere in Jude. That's fine. Take the New Testament. Listen to the Beatitudes when you read Matthew chapter 4, chapter 5 going, when Jesus was on the mountain and said, blessed are those. These things, when we apply them to our lives, life will be so good. Bible says, well, do not think evil for your about your enemy or all that. These things are good things that will help us. If we can renew our mind, if we believe in these things, we will not hurt each other. We will not hurt each other. Like I said, if you slap me on my cheek, I won't give you the other one. I will not. But I will move away. I will not come and fight you. I will move away if it's not necessary. That will save a whole lot of stuff. And as I said, this guy that was shot in the traffic light, the guy that was pardoned by Trump, I don't know what ensued. Maybe a little argument. Somebody didn't think right and something poor gun went off. This thing could have been saved. This guy left home, maybe told the wife or family, I'm going to buy something at grocery, going to do something. He never went back home. The next time they saw him, his body was getting into the morgue. Little things that we can just let them pass by. Let the force pass, and we come. A mind of Christ, Philippians 2:5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, who being the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God. Jesus is God, second person of the blessed Trinity. But you didn't say, come rub it in our face, that you know what? I am God. He will say it, I and the Father are one. But he didn't think he was superior to the Father. He knew his position, that I'm the second person, and below me is the Holy Spirit. But all three of us make up God. He didn't think it was robbery to be equal with God. But he didn't come rub it in our face that I'm second, you know what I am. But he humbled himself, stretching his arm on the cross, so you and I will be saved. Well, thank you, I think I'm over by a minute. Thank you for being with me tonight. Thank you for staying with us tonight. Thank you for the ability to listen. But I believe that this year we are all going to make it. So I pray for you that whatever change comes to your life, whatever change, whatever you are expecting, this is going to be serious time. This year is going to be serious. The next 4 years is going to be serious. But we have to look for a better way to respond to the change that is coming to our life. It might not be as we expected. Some people are very in a jubilant mood, very ecstatic. They're very happy. Yeah, our party is in power, whether it's NDC or whether it's Republican, whatever. Some people too are crying, oh yeah, our party lost. Whatever it is change. You have to decide, how are you going to react to this change? Let the Lord help you. I pray for you that the Spirit of God will help us. All of us will cross this year with an attitude of change, optimism, that no matter what is shifted in our lives, we will be able to make it. And so I leave you tonight. Share this clip. You can always get us on Era One Radio. We are on Facebook, we're on YouTube, on TikTok. Share the clip. And if you have any comments, leave it there. And I will see you again on Thursday. Well, on behalf of Dr. Ostus and the Era One team, I wish you all the best. If today is your birthday, well, I wish you happy birthday. I know my friend John Sasa's birthday was, I think, somewhere last week. So, John, happy birthday, happy belated. Anybody's birthday, whoever it is, I wish you birthday. Enjoy, and let's respond positively to the change that comes our way. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Sampabietia Chimafidi nunkotu Era one radio Samupe Jumpabietia Chimafidi nunkotu Era one radio Oh Anyumpankuma Chintu Asampankuma Era one,
They are four women. They are beautiful with brains. They are eloquent, decent, wise, and experienced. You have heard many, the funny. Now, it's time to hear the experience and the brainy. Meet Selena, Dorcas, Gifty, and Annette as they present the real in common getting. In common biaye sesi chain, the dead, as in takre no assume the dead, the real in common getting. Showing live this and every Sunday, 7 p.m. on Era One Radio on Facebook and on YouTube, Era One Radio and on Taibo channel. Kaise, so we see the real in common getting ya. What brabon tete, we nyan konsa, we the real in common getting.
And I just want to let you know, my book, Relationship Between Family Income and Obesity, is still on Amazon for only $10. Just go get a copy and help the brother out. We have to beat obesity. Obesity is a chronic disease, and it's about time we nail it down. If obesity is threatening your life as a change, there is a solution. Have a good night, and bye-bye.